Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live. It's Friday, April 4th. It is time for the weekend highlights where I give you the top live streams of this weekend that we are recommending. We have to do this now because there's so much going on each weekend that there's no time to go into all of the live streams in detail. We're up to 35 to 45 live streams per week now. So what we have to do is pick out the top ones, which we talk about a little bit more, and then we also, make brief comments about the rest of them. But I'm very excited about today's particular weekend highlights because we have for the first time during one of our studio presentations, invited guest, and we're going to be interviewing Robert Voisey, who is the head of Ars Nova and Vox Nova, and Vox Nova is going to be live streaming all of the Electronic Music Midwest Festival, which is going on this weekend in Canvas. And we'll also have in the live stream interview in just a minute, Mike McFerrin, who's one of the founders and co-directors of this festival. So this is the first time I'm doing this, folks. I'm going to see if this works. I'm going to click on the button to bring these guys in, and we'll see if they're in.
Hey, how you doing? How are you? Yeah.
Oh, this is so cool. This is our first studio live interview. I did one once before with a terrific organist at St. Eustache Cathedral. But as I mentioned to all of you viewing folks, the zillions of you who tune in, this is Robert Voisey of Vox Novus, which is a veteran YouTube live streaming chain dedicated particularly to new music and composers of new music, right? And and he's on the left on the screen that I'm looking. He's the guy who has hair that's the color of mine. That's right. And then the guy who appeared there is Mike McFerrin, who I understand, Mike, you're the founder or one of the founders of this festival.
Yeah, I'm the founder of Electronic Music Midwest, and I'll apologize. You're going to hear some sound in the background because we're getting ready to start up our sound. It's awesome, right?
That's what I'm in Stockholm, and as the Swedes would say, even better. Even better. It sounds like even better, which is what it is, because that's where the. Anyway, I'm really happy to have you guys here doing this interview. This will be live streamed, or it is live streaming right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, and for reasons which I don't understand. Also, I do it on LinkedIn, where I don't think it belongs, but I can do it, so I do it. And then the replay will also go out on Threads and on TikTok. So our strategy is, and it's a bad strategy, but our strategy is cover as many platforms as possible so that over time, as we build up, we're reaching as diverse a market as we possibly can, rather than being smart and just pouring everything into YouTube and trying to build up enough people so we can monetize and things like that. So anyway, I don't want to have you on hold, Mike, but I do want to. This is the first time that I've met Robert, and I'm very curious about Vox Novus, and I wondered if you could tell me a little bit about. I understand it's been around for like 15 years, right?
It started in 2000.
Okay, so it's 25 years.
Yeah,
that's a long time. Were you like 5 years old when you started?
No, anyway, I got to New York and
okay.
I was a young gun, like trying to make my thing, and I realized I needed to produce and present my own work. So, right. I come from an accounting background, so you start a company so you can do write-offs, blah blah blah. Okay. I started with just me, and it was 5 guys, and we turned it to 20, and then. A year later, we started a concert series called Composer's Voice, which was a traditional. It was a traditional chamber concert with 2 parts. I guess the weirdness of it was we only did new music, so everybody back then was like, playing a dead guy, and then they would sprinkle in some contemporary music, and we just did contemporary music, and so I started that in 2001.
Yeah.
And then it's been 25 years.
Well, my impression from just, I've been doing this our live streaming and our notices about other people's live streaming since last May. So we're coming up to 1 year mark. So I've become familiar with an awful lot of different groups in the time. And what I have noticed is that back in the late 80s and early 90s, there was a wave of chamber music groups that started up, some of which are still around today. They're like renowned, but then they were just scrappy little groups. And they were feeling the need to commission new composers to do works for them. So that was starting up in the 80s and 90s. But I think by the time we get to you're coming into it in the 2000s, you already had the feeling, well, no, we'll just do the new music. We will mix. We don't have to do the other thing to justify our existence. So and one of the things I've noticed about your channel is that there's actually music on your channel. Because let me say, I am not an electronic music fan. I'm curious about it.
We're not all perfect.
No, yeah, that's right. And I make mistakes every live stream, a number of them. But some of the electronic music to me and to a lot of listeners will be like, well, that sounds like noise. This doesn't sound like what I think of as music because it's not melodic. Now, the thing that I like about Vox Novus is there's a lot of melodic new composers on it. You had a harpist composer on a few months ago, and I just thought, and this is all new music, but completely melodic.
Right.
And
that was Alyssa Wright. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, listen, and I thought, well, this is new music, and I noticed that Gene Pritzker is on the Gene Pritzker is on the program here. So,
he's going to be opening up EMM for us.
Yeah.
Our first piece for the first show.
So are both of you familiar with Gene Pritzker then and the wild stuff that he does at Composers Concordance?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he churns out so much product, and but the thing that impresses me about Pritzker and Composers Concordance is that although he's way out on the edge of crossing boundaries between genres and jazz and classical and electronic music and narrative and whatever, he's way out on the edge. He gets people coming in from all over the world who are like, classic musicians. They're playing with, chamber music ensembles in Europe or the United States or with orchestras. And then they go to New York City and they go crazy with Gene Pritzker, and do stuff they would never be doing back at home. Or, some of them are. I know that there are some new music ensembles there. So is there anything coming up? Because I know you do several, to finish up with Vox Novus, I know that you have, when I look at your website, you have like 3 or 4 different hooks there. There's Composer's Voice, there's 15 Minutes of Fame, and I think there are 2 others.
Yeah. Now, so I'm co-producing a series called Sanctuary Sounds, which is
that's new.
That's new.
Yeah.
I have a project called 60 by 60, which collaborates with dancers a lot. That's electronic. That's an electronic project. And those are my 4 biggest focuses. I've got a couple of others that, throughout,
Yeah. Okay. But now here's the thing. Access Arts Live is exclusively live streaming, and all of it. And I think that some of your stuff, I know your Sanctuary Sounds that you've started doing, are those always going to be on Sundays? Because the last one on Sunday.
I think so.
Okay, so we can let our viewers know. Well, if you want to hear new music, it's on Sundays. But one of them isn't Composer's Voice. Is that recorded or is that live?
The TV, it's going to be recorded. It's the TV show. It's a TV show that airs in New York City. Yeah. I was doing live streams. Yeah, but it's too much.
I just put an X next to it. I can't push that one. But now, what about the 15 Minutes of Fame? Is that live?
Yes, most of the time. Most of the time, there's a live There's a live component.
Okay.
What I do a lot is I put 15 minutes of fame on composer's voice, so then it's not. But when I'm streaming it live, it's live.
It's complicated. I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
This is super cool. I have to take 1 second here to make sure that we're out on Instagram. Now we are. I have to do that because they don't play as nicely as everybody else does. So let's move on to, let's start talking, Mike, about these 7 concerts. And I think that's actually a little confusing for people who just see the listing, because they see concert and they think, oh, that's one performer. But no, I would have called these 7 sessions, because each concert will have a series of performers in it, right?
Yeah, our concerts will have, in some pieces, the only performer will be the speakers themselves. So we do works that are also for fixed media, but this is really a composers festival. And so we do 7 concerts that will have usually 6 or 7 different composers represented on the concert. And, composers are selected to participate in this festival through a peer review process. So they submit their best work. We only allow people to submit 1 piece for consideration.
Yeah.
And there's an adjudication panel that meets, and we choose we try to choose a program that really demonstrates the huge breadth, beauty, and diversity in electronic music today. And so that's where we are for our EMM festival.
Okay.
The other thing is our festival, our concerts are by design relatively short. We don't do intermissions. We don't do 2-hour concerts where you end up missing a lot of really great music due to ear fatigue. Instead, we really try to create, at least for 2 days here in Kansas City, Kansas, or next year it's at Lewis University outside of Chicago. We really try to create a community of composers. So let
me back up a little bit here, because I didn't do with you what I did with. Do you go by Robert or Bob or Rob, or what is it?
Rob.
Yeah. Okay. What I did with Rob, which is, who are you and how did this get started? Where does this come from all of a sudden?
Right. So we've been doing Electronic Music Midwest since 2000 with my...
so 25 years too.
25 years. I mean, we missed a couple of years due to COVID, but with my compatriot, Ian Corbett, he's our technical director. He's also teaches here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College.
So that's why you're okay.
Yeah, that's why we're here. And so on every other year, we're here in Kansas City, Kansas. And then in the other years, we're at Lewis University outside of Chicago.
Okay.
It was where I teach. But Ian and I were classmates at University of Missouri, Kansas City. And we'd been going to a number of academic, new music conferences. And we decided that we thought we could do it better. And I'm not sure we are, but we're having a hell of a lot of fun trying for the last 25 years.
Well, were you studying music? I mean, are you a composer yourself, or were you just interested in composing?
Yeah, no, both Ian and I, our terminal degrees are in composition from UMKC.
Okay. All right. So
all of my training is as a formal composer.
We can't go into the whole 25 years of what's been going on, but then we can get back to, so you were talking about how you don't want to have overkill and the concerts last too long. So there are 7 concerts during.
That's right, and they're all about an hour long. And I will just say, I know we can't go through all 25 years, but I think it's worth noting that EMM has presented close to 2,000 new works in the Midwest to our Midwest communities.
Are there any composers out of those 2,000 works, or particular works, that you would say these are the ones that were real finds on our part?
There's too many to mention. Actually, it's. I got to tell you, both me and Rob and Ian and Kay, who's sitting over here from the University of Arizona, and Jason Bolte, who teaches and runs the department at Montana State, or Tony Reimer, who teaches at Illinois State. I think we probably all coming into this weekend with a little bit of exhaustion and trepidation and thinking, God, when is this going to be over? But we leave with being just incredibly inspired by really just the beauty that's being created in electronic music. There are many years that I leave this festival saying to myself, well, I guess I should probably quit because I can't top what I just heard. And it really is an amazing weekend of really innovative, creative, expressive electroacoustic concert music, unlike any other festival that I'm really aware of.
Well, that's what. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I should note that, like, so I met Mike at a festival, and I actually started out by being a guest with the 60 by 60 project at EMM, and I did 60 by 60 here for, I don't know, like 10 and 11 years.
So what your listeners or viewers may not know is 60 by 60 is 61 minute pieces played back to back.
Yeah.
And it's a concert length piece, and it really shows sort of a slice of everything that's happening in electronic music.
I think I recall posting a notice about that one time, and I thought that's an awful lot of dancing. And I'm really interested in things like that because, you see, my background is as an actor and as a lyric tenor, but more of an actor than a lyric tenor. But, a lyric tenor when I don't have acting work, so I stay busy with something artistic. But Access Arts Live, what we're trying to do is promote as much as possible all of the performing arts online. And it's become very heavily classical music simply because there's an awful lot more of that being live streamed. There's some opera. There's a great opera tonight that's being live streamed by Opera Vision, and they're a terrific outfit because when they do live, it's free of charge, and they're doing it at top opera houses. They're at the Teatro Real today in Madrid, which is fantastic. But that's not a lot. It's nowhere near as much classical music as you have. And dance, there's even less. And theater, there's almost nothing that's live for home viewing except for the CBU Theater Festival, which I did some work with them back in 2019, live stream some of their conferences, and they live stream all kinds of theater. And it's a huge festival. It's one of the largest ones in the world. So that's great, but it's the only one I've got. So, the fact that you're working with dance, I think is terrific because I want all the performing arts. And one of the things that I like, that I'm interested in doing too, is the crossover audience, getting people from what you would call acoustic music over into electronic. Because there's a huge gap to cross over if there's nothing which is both. So I was very curious to see that the publicity for this EMM, because your guest of honor is a flautist.
Yeah, and Lisa is a spectacular performer. I think she's playing 7 pieces, and these are all pieces that she's learned specifically for this festival. Every year we have a guest performer, and they're usually, they're always performers who are great, really experts in playing music for with electronics, live interactive, live electronics, fixed media, all of that type of thing. And so we've been really fortunate that we've had some of the really greatest performers in this field at our festival, including this year we have Rob's piece is being played by Craig Holtgren. And Craig has been in the new music scene his entire career. He's been a real champion of new music.
When is this playing? If you're going to mention it, give me a specific day and time and concert so
that'll be our
for viewers.
That'll be our Friday concert. Today's concert. Today's last concert, where 15 Minutes of Fame is also where she's a monster player. I remember her wanting to do 15 Minutes of Fame, including everything that she got. I was just like, it's a lot of work, and she just
tonight that concert is tonight at 8 p.m. Kansas City time.
Yeah, that's concert number 3. Okay, because I haven't reviewed. Right. The only one that I had time to review indeed, because I got a zillion. We're putting out notices on 35 to 40 live streams, 45 live streams a week now,
Wow.
I mean, you're talking about 5 a day.
Yeah.
And I have to digest all this stuff and cut and paste all this muck that they put online, which is zillions of paragraphs, and then
Right.
cut out all the verbiage about, well, this is the greatest pianist ever. And it's always the greatest. Yeah, but, if I say greatest 5 times, nobody believes me anymore.
Right.
So I only had time really to like look through the first days, your very first concert. Okay. And I want to ask more about Lisa Bo-Sandberg because when she's playing these pieces, are they purely acoustic or are they acoustic mixed with electronic music? I mean, in principle, is all of the music in this festival, if I may call it that, you don't call it that, but I will. In principle, is each piece at least a mix of acoustic and there always has to be an electronic music component?
Yeah. Oh, and first I would just say that Lisa Bo-Sandberg is the greatest flute. Okay, I'm joking. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. All of the music has some electronic component, and we define that very loosely. So, we've had stuff, that has used all different types of electronics to produce sound. But all of her pieces will either have a fixed media component that she's playing along with, like on her 15 Minutes of Fame. Those are 15 1-minute pieces tonight. And
So
then
she's
there are,
on 15 Minutes of Fame.
yeah, that's tonight at 8 p.m. Kansas City time.
Okay.
And so it's the first piece on that concert, and it's 15 1-minute pieces back to back, all with fixed media. And then there will be also pieces that she plays that
What do you mean
are
mixed media? I don't know what
fixed media would be like music that was created in a studio on its own. That's fixed, that doesn't change, as opposed to music that's interactive. So a computer that's listening to audio input and making choices. And she does that too. It's just not part of 15 minutes.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. So people want to tune into concert number 3 today if they possibly can. I don't know if in Europe it's going to be 3. It'll be, you guys have 7 hours.
Yeah.
So people will just be going to bed.
Yeah, but 3 a.m. on a Friday night. I mean, people go out and get stoned or dance.
That's
and do
right.
whatever till 3 a.m. Why not when you're coming home tonight? Well, check that out. And of course, in the U.S., it'll be much earlier and more convenient. So concert number 3 is one that people will want to check out because it's got Robert Voisey combined with Lisa Bo-Sandberg. I mean, that's like really dynamite.
It's going to be a great concert, and you'll also hear, as I was mentioning, Craig Holgren. He was one of our featured composers several years ago, coming back just to play Rob's piece, and so it's going to be a really great concert tonight.
Oh, so this is the Rob Voisey segment.
Yeah.
So okay, now I understand why he's there. So now, Rob, you're going to be live streaming the whole thing this weekend, right?
That's right. So everybody can check out each of the concerts on YouTube at my channel, Vox Novus.
Okay, Vox Novus. And I want you to know also that in case you ever want to do it, this just occurred to me, you can always, if you ever wanted to, double up your live streaming, you could do it on our channel. Like this, using the link. If you think about it, if you want to do it, it might, I know you got your whole thing set up now, but for future purposes, something that I'm realizing is that now that this is so easy to do, I can take people's food and we can, double up their audience because I'm across 6 platforms.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you come on with us, and you're everywhere. Okay, so we figured out that's the concert people really want to check out is concert number 3 today. Now, what about on Saturday then? What are the highlights of Saturday? And just like
there are 4 concerts.
Yeah.
There are 4 concerts on Saturday.
Yeah.
And again, these are all Central Time, but I think it's 10 a.m., 1:30, 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. And Lisa will also be playing on several of those concerts.
Yes.
She'll end the festival with a fabulous piece by Michael Whitgraff that is really a great piece to end a great festival on. And so, all of our concerts, I think, are really exciting, but that concert in particular, we have a fixed media piece on there by Leah Reed, This piece has won lots of awards and is really spectacular. So that would be another great concert. If you can only tune into one, the 8 p.m. on Saturday would be a great concert to tune into as well.
That's the 8 p.m. Isn't there one on Sunday too?
No, those are so we're doing 3 today, and then we'll do 4 tomorrow, Saturday, and then Sunday we're cleaning up.
Let me double check to make sure I have that correct in my notes.
The festival
for April 6th, so that's mistaken.
That's right. It's only today and tomorrow, and people can find our website and learn more about our festival at emmfestival.org.
I will give it when this live stream is done, and I'm going over its posting on, because it stays up for replay purposes everywhere. I am going to go over each of those postings, and I will be listing the links to all 7 concerts. Okay, and I don't know if I will have the presence of mind and be able to get to also putting in the recommendations. They might have to watch this video to get the recommendations. I might just put a note, say what, but or maybe I'll figure it out, because I don't have to dig through all of this stuff, and that gets complicated.
We understand. And
here's what you could do. No, here's what you could do, which would allow me to do that quickly and easily. For the few that you recommended, like the concert number 3 and the concert number 7, if you could just send me on WhatsApp a brief note with the names of the titles of those performances, then when I go and start cleaning up the description that goes with this video, just after those lines of links, I can put in, what it is.
You got it.
That would help me enormously, because when we finish this interview, I still have to do my weekend highlights, which is going to be maybe another half an hour of plowing through stuff. So it gets thick, but that will give you time to just send me a few of those notes so that I can then just put them in underneath the link to each concert. So
and we can include a link to the Vox Novus live stream and YouTube channel, because even if you're in Europe and you can't get up,
I'm giving them. No, but that's what I'm giving them. In other words, there'll be the list of concert 1, the time, and then the link.
Yeah, but my point is that those concerts will stay up for a while, so people can go back. If you can't make it live, you could.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, I believe it. And my dream is more and more you live stream it, and if you missed it, you missed it. It was a concert. It's real life, folks. Because if you look at the quantity, I'll do my little spiel here. You look at the quantity of what's live and what's fake, because if it's recorded, it's fake. There's no artist there. There's nobody creating for you. They went home. They've gone fishing. They're having dinner. They're dead, whatever. You're not interacting with anything except a thing. But when it's live, now I don't think the same thing applies to like interviews like this or to discussions or things like that, because it's not an artistic experience. But when Lisa Bost Sandberg is creating in the moment, this is a moment of truth and beauty, which we're all sharing together. And I think there's so much power in that as a social event. And anyone looking at a recording of it later, there's no social event going on. It's 2:00 on a Tuesday night and they're alone in bed and they're watching it. They're not connected with this whole other. So when I'm at a good concert, and as a performing artist, when I'm at a concert, I don't think I'm in the audience. I'm looking at the audience, how they doing, whatever. I just say, okay, we got 750 people.
Well,
wouldn't it be great to have 10,000 people vibrating on this same moment of truth and beauty, or 100,000 or 5 million, or there were like over 100 million people saw this guy playing the piano in the rain during the Olympic ceremonies. Do we have to throw an Olympics to get 100 million people to rise up and be a part of this?
Talking about live, we're live. We got to get going.
Okay, yeah, we're 30 minutes up. Okay, that's great.
Starting in 17 seconds. So
that's great. Listen, thank you guys so much. I will now go into the sourcing, and I will click you off in a second. But just thank you ever so much for participating and being part of the history of our founding year. Ciao for now.
John. Yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Have a great weekend. Wow. Was that terrific or not? That's apple juice, by the way. Well, I'm telling you, that turned out to be everything I wanted it to, and I even got to do my little spiel at the end, which I think was priceless that I squeezed that in. But I should have let them squeeze theirs in. I know I screwed it up, but anyway, it was a lot of fun. So, and they're gonna, if you follow that, they're gonna send me more info, and I will, when this live stream is done, I will put out that additional info on a separate. I'm going to cut this in half, and for the replay version, we will reload. I'll reload this as a separate replay, and remind the audience at the end of that, as I'm doing right now, but I'm not ending this show, reminding the audience, if you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, we're happy that you like our videos, but we'd be even happier if you would like us. That is, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live if you watch us on X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn. Okay, now let's get to the rest of this, the weekend highlights, the top live streams that we're recommending for this weekend. And then that'll probably be about 20 minutes for me to get through all of them. The first of the top recommendations for this weekend, the first, of course, is Opera Vision, which is live streaming in a half an hour from now. Mozart's Mithridate from Teatro Real, the Royal Theater in Madrid. We have put out a separate video. I did a separate live stream on that. If you're interested in that, click off of this. You can come back to this later. It will be available in recorded format, but at 7 o'clock European time, 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, and 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Daylight Time, Opera Vision, God bless their hearts, is live streaming Mozart's Mithridate free of charge from Teatro Real, which is one of the top ones in the world. Okay, now, so once that's out of the way, what do we have to recommend for you today, live streaming today, Friday? The first thing that I want to recommend to you is will be coming up at 7:30, if opera is not your bag, because top conductor Mirga Garazinta-Tilla is leading the Munich Phil through Bartok, Mendelssohn, and Richard Schumann, live stream from the Budapest Mupa Hall. That's at 7:30 European time, 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time, and 10:30 in the morning Pacific Daylight Time. They'll be doing Bartok's Divertimento for strings, Mendelssohn's Violin Concerto in E minor, played by Barnabas Kellerman on the violin, and Schumann's Symphony No. 1 in B-flat major, the Spring Symphony, Opus 38. Why do I recommend this as your Friday offering other than the opera? Because I'm so enthusiastic about this conductor, Mirga Garazinta-Tilla. She's one of those former Dudamel fellows. She was a Dudamel fellow. That's the LA Philharmonic, and Dudamel has been the head guy there for like a decade or so. And he created this internship for up-and-coming conductors, and a number of top up-and-coming women directors like Yamanu down at the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra. It came up through that program. As did Mirga Garazinta-Tilla back in 2013, and she was so good that then they brought her in. They made her an assistant for a few years. She went from there to being the music director of the Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, following in the footsteps of people like Simon Rattle. And she was there from 2016 to 2023, and now she's just an associate conductor there because she's doing what she feels like doing. And she's doing a lot of opera, and she's very big on Weinberg. She conducted a live stream of Weinberg's opera, The Passenger, at Teatro Real last June. We told you about it. And then she was at Salzburg with the Vienna Phil conducting The Idiot by Weinberg. So it's onward and upward for her, and I think she's terrific. So that's why we recommend it as your best choice for for a live stream this Friday. Now, close runner-up second, but I don't think it'll be as good, is the Sao Paulo Symphony. And let me, I forgot to give you more of a close-up of Grzintatila and Kellerman. Just for a second, I'd like to let you see the intensity with which both of these artists work. I see that, and I just think this is going to be terrific. Now, the runner-up, honorable mention, you could call it, is Emilia Hoving. Now, Emilia Hoving will be conducting the Sao Paulo Symphony in a live stream today at 8 o'clock Brazilian time, which I think is going to be 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, and 1 in the morning in Europe. I'm pretty sure, but everybody's changing around from daylight savings time to standard time, so you may want to double check that on your computer. She's Emilia Hoving is really hot stuff according to everybody. She won she went to the Sibelius Academy, and then she was assistant to Hannu Lintu, a top conductor at the Finnish Radio Symphony, and then she went to work under Mikko Frank at Radio France. And there was this incident a few years ago where Radio France Orchestra was playing at the Berlin Phil's Hall, and the other conductor got sick, and at the last minute, she had to jump in, and she did, and the Germans loved her. And Germans don't love people that easily, so I think she's really impressed. They'll be doing an interesting piece by Unsuk Chin, talk about opera. It's called Opera Scope, and he's a South Korean conductor who was a former visiting composer at OSES, and it's a 9-minute piece tracing the history of opera, Verdi, Puccini, Bird, and some others. And then they'll do Nielsen's second opera, Symphony Number 5, a 2-movement symphony, and then they'll do Richard Strauss's Don Quixote. So that's an interesting concept, but I just don't think this measures up to Grzintatila and the Munich Phil. I just don't think it's on I don't think you can have the same expectations. And if none of that pleases you, then a little later in the evening, you can hear some lovely Amy Beach 4 pieces for cello and piano, and Brahms trio for viola, cello, and piano, played by members of the National Symphony Orchestra on the Kennedy Center Millennium Stage. But the recommendations for tonight are of course, the opera, the Opera Vision Opera, and the Mirga Grzintatila and the Munich Phil, playing Bartok, etc. I mean, I think that'll be really good. So that's what we have for Friday. Then we move on to what I can recommend to you for Saturday, and that's that Finnish conductor there in the photo. We move on to Saturday, and what are the 2 recommendations for Saturday? I try to keep it just to 1 or 2. Yeah, now Saturday starts out, if you like this kind of stuff, if you've been following it, March Vivo has their noontime live stream, which is focused on songs and tales of love and loss from Latin America. And this Saturday, it's soprano Juliet Lozano, and she's singing songs on the theme they tell us of female protagonism. So if you're interested in that, that's at noon in Madrid and very early times in the U.S. She'll be singing songs about love at different moments in life from 7 different Latin American countries. Composers like Irma Urteaga, Maria Piñeros, Mariela Rodriguez, Ernestina Lecuona, Isolina Carrillo, Violeta Parra, etc. If you don't know those authors, I'm sure it'll be lovely music. But of course, one of the top experiences tomorrow to recommend, and which I do recommend, is Wigmore Hall, the semifinals of the International String Quartet Competition. If you have followed any of it this week, they had 4 days of preliminaries. These are top, young, ambitious, up-and-coming quartets. It's the Quatuor Emile, the Velvet Quartet, the Quartet Hana, the Turicum Quartet, the Catarina String Quartet, the Aranis Quartet, Opus 13, Terra String Quartet, Quartet Integra, the Myriad, and the Via Torres Quartets. And we do not, those were all the ones that participated all week long. I'm sure you can watch their recordings that are still up on YouTube. And we do not yet know which of these will be chosen to proceed into the semifinals. The semifinals will be in two stages. The first is at 3 o'clock European time, Saturday, 9 in the morning on the East Coast, 6 in the morning on the West Coast, midnight down in Australia. And then the second one is at 8:30 in the evening European time, 2:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast, and 11:30 in the morning on the West Coast. They're playing their hearts out. This is real quality stuff. They're all, a number of them are resident quartets at places like Juilliard or McGill, and they're at the point where they've started playing out in the first year or two after getting out of school. So they're good. Now, the second thing that I want to recommend as a live stream that you may want to check out, I think it's really curious. I'm curious about it. And this will be chamber music with organ. You see those three performers there. It's a cellist, a violinist, and an organist. And they are an ensemble. The ensemble is called Tempus Novum Art. They're Russian. And they play together that way. I have never heard of an ensemble which was strings and organ before. I've heard of strings and piano, but not organ. And what are they going to be playing? So they're playing a number of things, and they're also going to be joined by a mezzo-soprano, Elena Lopukina. I don't have a picture of her. And the theme of the evening is Bach and the Venetian composers that he loved, because apparently he had music by Vivaldi and Marcello was found in his library, and he reworked some of Vivaldi's music to try to see if he could make it work in German. And so they'll start out with Bach's Fantasia and Fugue in C minor. Then they'll do 3 choral preludes from the collection organ book. And then they'll do Vivaldi's Stabat Mater, RV 621. They'll do Marcello's, that's Alessandro Marcello's Adagio. Marcello is almost a complete contemporary of Bach, died in 1747. Bach passed away in 1750. They'll do Vivaldi's Trio Sonata in C minor, RV 83, and Nisi Dominus, which I believe is a song, which is RV 608 by Vivaldi. So those are the two that I recommend. The Wigmore Hall string quartet competition, and my brain just gets stuck. I'm processing so much for you. And the Tempus Novum Art Ensemble playing Bach, Vivaldi, and Marcello. Now, later on in that evening, also Stage Plus, if you want to, and those are free. Stage Plus, if you want to shell out €9.90 or $11 Lang Lang, the pianist, is playing, and the Detroit Symphony Orchestra is playing at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. But it's not with Yadar Bignamini, that terrific conductor they have. It's a visiting conductor, Marcus Stentz. And they'll be doing the Leonore Overture by number 3 by Beethoven, Max Bruch's Concerto for clarinet and viola. And on that, they are having in-house musicians. Do I have a picture of them? I thought I had a picture of them picked out. I can dig it up for you here. Incidentally, it's Ralph Sciano and on the clarinet, and Eric Nowlin on the viola, and then they'll do Schumann's Symphony No. 2 in C major. I just can't say that that's going to be as good as the two that I'm recommending in terms of the interest and quality of the music and my curiosity about it. Can't say that. So that's what we have for Saturday, those two. So then we move on finally to Sunday. And what can I recommend to you for live streams to check out on Saturday? And, if you disagree with any of them, I'd love to get comments. Comment on this this live stream video or wherever you may see it replayed and say, no, John, you were all wrong. That wasn't any good. So okay. So on Sunday, well, Sunday starts out March Vivo again at noontime. They have a 17-year-old prodigy playing Beethoven, Debussy, and Eugène Issei, if that kind of thing interests you. Then Fabian Müller, the pianist, is continuing with 4 more Beethoven sonatas. He's playing all 32 of them. And that's, again, on Stage Plus for €9.90. But I'm not sure why you would pay to hear Fabian Müller play it when you can hear Boris Giltberg do the same thing at Wigmore Hall, which he's going through all 32 of them too. And Boris Giltberg is a very good pianist, and it's free of charge. They ask you for a donation, but you don't have to. You can get it for free. Well, why pay for it if you can get it for free? Well, because Daniel Barenboim invited Fabian Müller to play the Beethoven sonatas at the Pierre Boulez Salle. So I guess that's a reason, but Wigmore Hall is a reason too. Okay, so those are fine, but I'm not recommending them. The ones I recommend are an organ recital. St. Eustache Church is live streaming one of their resident organists, the masterful showman, Baptiste Florian Mar-Ouvrard. He's playing Charles Maria Widor's 6th Symphony for organ. That's going to be great. That organ, with its 111 stops, 7,952 pipes, it's just a marvelous organ. And this is such a popular live stream. They get. Let me put up a picture of this showman, Baptiste Florian Mar-Ouvrard, because I really like this guy. He's really a fine. He's been there for almost a decade now. He always wears red socks at these recitals, and I think it's because he knows that they have a camera focused at his feet, so he's a little bit of vanity. But anyway, he has a showman's flair. He also does, a lot of these organists do, or some of them anyway, does silent movie accompaniments and things like that. But and on our YouTube page, you can find a link where you can find a video. It's the replay of a live stream that I did with Mar-Ouvrard's colleague, the other resident organist, Thomas Hospital, and he about 35 minutes worth of walking around the church, and he took us up in the loft and explained the architecture of the church and how it interacted with the characteristics of that magnificent Van den Heuvel organ to produce the immersive sound effect that it has, and compared that to the organ, which is similar in size at Notre Dame Cathedral, and then the Cavaillé-Coll organ at Saint-Sulpice. And then he went over I got him to talk about individual pieces of the organ, because they say it badly needs renovation. So if you don't know about organs, he's explaining all these different pieces, what they have to do to improve it. So it's an education, or as the French would say, c'est une leçon. It's a lesson. So anyway, that's Baptiste Florian Mar-Ouvrard, and it's going to be, they get standing room only people. They get 300 people for these things. And most of the other organ recitals that we pitch to you during the week, they're in these huge cathedrals, and there may be a dozen people or 20 people. Here, it's filled, and there are people standing. So it's a good concert. And then the other thing to recommend for you on Sunday is Sunday evening, the Wigmore Hall International String Quartet Competition, the finals and the awards. And that'll be 6 o'clock UK time, 7 o'clock in Europe, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. And I'm sure that will be a fine demonstration of string quartet quality. So I would say, that is what I would make my Sunday. I'd make this lovely organ recital and then enjoying the Wigmore Hall International String Quartet. Now, if you're particularly into Bach, I can mention to you that Albin Gerhardt, who is considered one of the top cellists in the world, is going to be playing. I have a picture of him that's just in the composite. That's him there in the middle of the bottom row. Albin Gerhardt. He is going to be playing at 92 NY the complete cello suites by Johann Sebastian Bach. So if you're an early music person or a Baroque person or a cello lover, I mean, this is a top cellist, one of the tops in the world, maybe the tops in the U.S., although I'm not even sure if he's in the U.S. Gerhardt is. I don't know Alvin Gerhardt, but he's spoken of very highly, and he's playing all of Bach's cellos. But that's at 6. That's at 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, which is 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, 8 o'clock in the evening in Europe, and 11 o'clock at night Australian Eastern Daylight Time. But it's not free; it will cost you $25. If you really love it, though, it could be worth it. The rest of your Sunday, there are a couple other interesting things that I'll just tell you about briefly. There's the Horizon Ensemble, which is in Massachusetts. They're doing a concert at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time, noon on the West Coast, and 9 in the evening in Europe. They're doing a concert of revolutionary voices of Massachusetts through orchestral music and poetry. So this is more of a local thing, but they put out an annual call for composers, and so that'll be part of this concert. They're doing a new piece by an Australian composer called John Rotar called Kunar. I have no idea what it's about, but it was composed this year. They're doing another world premiere by another composer, Ben Nakar, called Paul Revere, composed this year, inspired by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem about Paul Revere in Massachusetts. It's his 250th anniversary. Then they'll be doing Amy Beach's Jephthah's daughter. She was from Massachusetts. And Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 1. Was he from Massachusetts? I don't know, but it's an interesting concert. Then the Tomsk Philharmonic in Siberia will be doing what looks like a great concert about Rachmaninoff with the orchestra, a piano soloist, a baritone, and a soprano. But the problem is that there'll be a lot of talking about it too. So they'll be playing music by Tchaikovsky, Glinka, and Saint-Saëns, and Rachmaninoff, with a lot of talk in between, which is all in Russian. So if you don't speak Russian, I don't know. And then finally, a very curious live stream to me. This is coming from the Scottsdale Philharmonic at 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time in the U.S. And they're playing Rimsky-Korsakov, Bizet, Puccini, Glière. What's interesting is the conductor, Vanya Gyumar Nikolovsky. The guy's very interesting to me, and the reason is he's originally, my phone's good. In Europe, and that'll be at 7 in the evening. Sorry about that. Here's Vanya Gyumar Nikolovsky. He's an interesting man. He started out in Macedonia, where he studied conducting and composition, and graduated from the Rimsky-Korsakov State Conservatory in the mid-90s. And then there's nothing. Well, no, then he did a lot of conducting with like the Macedonian Phil and et cetera. And then he disappeared, and he got his doctorate in music arts and conducting from Arizona State University in 2018. So there's like a gap when he was out of the business, and now he's back. And I think it's always interesting when people are away and they come back like that. So you might want to tune into it. It's free of charge, just out of curiosity. But again, the two top things I think on Sunday are Baptiste Florian Malgouvrad's organ recital and the the finals and the awards of the Wigmore Hall International String Competition. So that's that, folks. If you've been with us through the whole thing, we've gone almost an hour today, but the first half hour was that terrific live interview with Robert Voisey and Mike McFerrin at the Electronic Music Midwest. I mean, that's terrific that they could take a half hour out from organizing this whole big deal thing. So there we have it. And thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, feel free to comment. I always love to get comments, and we never seem to get any. I have a function here that shows me if people are saying anything in the chats anywhere, and and nothing ever shows up in the chat. So I don't even know if it's working. I will remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please, if you're watching this on Facebook, please click the like the video button. On YouTube, click subscribe. And on our other platforms, we're happy that so many of you like our videos, but we'd be even happier if you would like us. That is, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on our other platforms, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and for some reason, LinkedIn. So ciao for now. I hope that any of these live streams we've been talking about inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. Ciao for now. I'll be back next Monday with the roundup of Big Stage Productions as usual at 6 in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, and 9 in the morning on the West Coast.